This is Gary Guyman with the Dominate the Day podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to help you get 1% better in your business, provide clarity, and give you some ideas that will help you grow your business. If you're ready to dominate the day, let's go.
Dominate the day, that's what we're about to do. If you don't want to dominate, then this podcast ain't for you. But if you are, then keep listening, cause every single damn day, the mission is to dominate. You already know we're here to dominate the day. So if you want to dominate every day, then let's go, it's time to grow. This is another episode of Dominate the Day.
Coming up on the end of the first month of the year. Hopefully you're reviewing your goals, looking at your goals, and determining what you've accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, what you need to accomplish. But there's a breakdown with goals where people lose sight and can't achieve them. It's widespread. It happens more often than it doesn't. The idea with goals are they should be measurable and attainable. And in order to measure them, you need to break the goal down to the least common denominator. Like you might come in, 2021, you came in at the end of the year and you're like, you know what, I want to do $500,000 in revenue this year, or I want to make $200K in income this year, like whatever that goal is, right? Well, if you look at it from the elephant, the whole goal, it's hard to attain, like that's why if you hear NFL coaches, even college coaches, they'll be talking about the next game, even though sports reporters are like, so are you, do you feel like you have a good shot at the playoffs? Playoffs? You talking about playoffs? When they worry about the next game, like they get done with the game, they're not thinking ahead 3 weeks, a month, and a year. They're thinking to the next game. What can they do to prepare to compete in the next game? And with goals, you have to break it down to that level. Like, what did you do today? What did you do tomorrow? So like I, every week, have a goal of revenue, new revenue that I have to, that I focus on. I don't always achieve it, but I focus on getting that number every single week. And I really got focused on that this year, this month, looking at our numbers on a weekly basis of what my new revenue goal is. A lot of our stuff is monthly recurring. So I don't look at the total revenue. What I do is I look at what I'm bringing in new revenue wise. And I do that on a weekly basis. For you, it might be looking at number of leads on a daily basis or number of jobs you complete on a daily basis. I had a conversation, it was actually an email conversation with a client today, and we were troubleshooting something, and I asked them, do you track your leads on a daily basis on a spreadsheet? Like you pop up a Google Sheet, and every day write down how many leads you got. You don't have to write down where they came from. Just write down how many leads you got, how many calls, how many forms. Because then you can take that information, review in a month, review in 3 months, review in a year, review in 2 years. Like you know what that day should expect, and you know what you need to do in terms of growth. Having those numbers and tracking those numbers help you be able to obtain goals. Again, a goal needs to be measurable and it needs to be attainable. It doesn't need to be easy. It needs to be attainable. If you did $100,000 this year, don't say you're going to do $1 million next year just by showing up. Like you got to have a plan in place to be able to 10x that number. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying you need to have a way to get there. So when goals are measurable and broken down to their least common denominator, and when goals are attainable, not easy, but attainable, more likely than not to achieve them, and you get broken down to that least common denominator and you have something that is in your sights, that's when you're going to dominate the day.
Dominate the day, that's what we're about to do. If you don't want to dominate, then this podcast ain't for you. But if you are, then keep listening, cause every single damn day, the mission is to dominate. You already know we're here to dominate the day. So if you want to dominate every day, then let's go, it's time to grow. This is another episode of Dominate the Day.